Well, hey mamas, hello, hello. Welcome to another video all about communication. We are continuing our discussion about parent-teacher conferences, and today, instead of talking about is it you mama or is it your teen that should be talking to the teachers, let's dive into the ways teachers might want your teen to communicate with them, or even the ways that your child could reach out to the teachers, get help, and might not know or know how to use them or even be aware of. Okay? So let me know down below. Does your teen feel like if you said, hey mom, or you said, hey son, I should say, how can you ask your teacher for help? Like if you have a question with this homework, if you want to, get some extra help for this test, like how are you going to reach out to your teachers? Like what are your options? Would your teen know? Like, does your teen have any idea if it's like one way and one way only? Does your teen know, well, the teacher said this, the teacher said this? Like, how aware is your teen of the ways his teachers can help? Like, how accessible they are? So be sure to share below. And do know we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different things related to this topic of communications. But if you want to talk to me one-on-one, if you want to figure out, hey, why is my teen doing the things he's doing when it comes to school? Why is, this homework thing, this school thing was learning so tough? Let's schedule a free consultation. Link is in the bio, but be sure to stick with me because I know something I'm going to share today is going to help this weekend, if not first thing Monday morning. So, first step here, mamas. I've asked lots of times if you watched my other videos in this series, but I want to know, has your teen read the syllabus? Okay. This is something that's going to be in the syllabus. Okay. There's going to be a way to reach out to the teacher in that syllabus. Now, the teacher might have only provided the school email, but that's still something very helpful. Okay. But I can almost always guarantee the teachers are going to list something in there about their preferred method of communication. Okay, it might be that school email, but it could be something like Canvas or Google Classroom or some version of an online platform. Okay, so we have to know, where is that teacher looking for information from students? Okay, if your teen sends an email and then tells you, mom, the teacher's not answering my emails, well, that's a problem, except if the teachers made it very clear in the syllabus, made it clear to teacher, made it clear to his class that, I don't answer my emails, or, they get lost, or the best way to communicate about X, if it's a certain subject, certain project, certain just anything related to class, your kid has to know what that way is. Okay, so if your teen comes to you and says, mom, teachers unanswered my emails, that's my very first thought to all of you is that what the teacher expects? Because you're going to go to parent-teacher conferences, and if your kid's reaching out, doing his best to self-advocate, that's amazing, and we want the teachers to respond, but at the same time, we got to know what's the right way to reach out, okay? Now, it's unfortunate if different teachers want different things, but as we've talked about here before on Facebook and on YouTube, and you've probably heard me say if we've met for a consultation or we've watched an interview, then unfortunately different teachers present homework different ways. Okay, so the same thing might be true with communications. Something else I want you all to know, and I want to make sure your teens are aware, is that teachers have contract hours. Okay, that means they're going to be in the building, or they're supposed to be in the building certain times of certain days. Okay, so that means if your teacher, I'm having trouble with the word teachers, and I have trouble with the word teens today here. Sorry about that, mamas. But if your teen reaches out like at 5 o'clock and teachers are done at 4 o'clock, there's no guarantee your teen's going to get help until the next day. Now, is it nice when a teacher reaches out when it's outside of contract hours? Oh, for sure. But I really, really want you mamas to know not to expect that. Okay. Now, something else that kind of goes into being a teacher that maybe you're not aware of, maybe your teen's not aware of, is they have all these meetings they have to go to. They have all these extra duties. they have to do. And for any of you watching that have been or are educators, you know what I'm talking about. So do know that's another really important thing when your teen's trying to figure out how do I communicate and where can I find my teacher and when can I find my teacher. Well, maybe that teacher has to do bus duty, like every first week of every 2 months, something like that. Okay. So not at all unfair of you mamas or your teens to ask for information like that. Again, this can happen before our parent-teacher conferences, or it can be done at parent-teacher conferences. Something like, hey, your syllabus says that you'll be in your classroom every Monday from 7 to 7:30. You weren't there. Like, what am I supposed to do when you're not there? Or where else can I find you? Or is there something I can do instead? Okay. But do also know teachers' plan periods are their plan periods. Okay. So sometimes, mamas, you can reach out by a phone. Sometimes your teens can stop by. But at the same time, plan periods are plan periods. But again, that is something that you could find out if you really felt like that was the only time to communicate with a teacher. Okay. Now there is something else I really want your teens to do while they're in school so they can actually have this face-to-face conversation, because to me that's the easiest form of communication, as in maybe most accessible, maybe most difficult coming to social skills. But I want to talk about that here in a second. Before I do, I want to say thanks for watching, mamas. I'm Jessyka Coulter, CEO and founder of Ace Cookie Tutoring. I'm live here on Facebook, live on YouTube, on the Ace Cookie Tutoring channel and business page. So I hope you subscribe. I hope you follow, because there are more videos coming your way all about this particular series, getting ready for those parent-teacher conferences. And I will be sharing all sorts of study strategies, all sorts of learning tips for your tweens, your teens, your young adults, pretty much your kiddos in middle school through college. Alrighty, mamas. What else can your teens do to communicate? Well, we talked about emails. We've talked about before school, after school, contract hours, all that good stuff. But something that I am always surprised about when I work with students through my Love to Learn Study Skills program is when I ask them, do you have a study hall? Do you have a homeroom? Do you have like an advisory? Do you have some time in your schedule that is devoted to not like an actual class, but instead to homework time or study time or actually getting to talk to teachers? And the cool thing is, pretty much all schools know that students need access to their teachers. Okay, they're aware of these meetings. They're aware of the teachers' extra duties. They're aware that some students can't stay after school or get there early. And they know that, there's X amount of minutes in between each class, which isn't always enough time. And teachers need bathroom breaks, right? Because something they don't get a lot of. I've learned that the hard way while substitute teaching. But I want your teens to know, and I want you mamas to know, that there's a very, very good chance your child has time during the actual day of school to go get help. Now, if your teen doesn't know what the policies are of study hall, of advisory, whatever it might be called at your child's school, that is something to learn right away, okay? Because schools need to know where the students are. Your child can't just leave this classroom. There has to be some kind of methodology. Most of the time, it's something like a pass, something like filling out the planner, something like a teacher calling a teacher emailing a teacher. There's all sorts of different methods, just depends on the school. But if you have a middle schooler that's, new to middle school, you have a high schooler, new to high school, we definitely need your teen these beginning weeks of school to know what is that travel policy during seminar, study room, nighttime, as one of my students calls it, because they're the nights, I guess. But that's the perfect time for your teen to go get help. Okay, if your child, you find out, is hanging out with friends, playing games on his computer, is just generally wasting that 20 minutes, 30 minutes, hour, whatever it is, that is a problem. Okay, so mamas, I don't want you, again, going to parent-teacher conferences saying you're never available to the teacher, when really your teen could find out, okay, what was that assignment I missed while I was sick? Or, I'm really confused on what you want us to do in problem number 3. If your teen has time to get the help during school, he needs to use it. And that's when all these other things we've talked about come into play too. Maybe your teen is supposed to, on the syllabus, it says send an email to schedule a time to meet during seminar, or your teen has to request the teacher to stay after a certain day, or maybe the teacher, just is willing to let whomever into seminar every day as long as your teen signs the sign-up sheet. Okay, so many different things. Now, maybe your teen doesn't want to go talk to the teacher one-on-one. I've worked with plenty of students when we go through the self-advocacy study skill and they don't want to talk face-to-face. I got to tell you, the talking is very auditory. So if your child's auditory, they're going to get help that way. If they're very visual, sometimes an email is better. And for the kinesthetic, that's when your teen needs to really be there talking to the teacher and drawing things or pointing things out or flipping through pages, somehow hands-on movement involved. Okay, so if you have questions about how we can tie the learning styles into communication, how we can tie the learning styles into self-advocacy, definitely encourage you to schedule a consultation so we can talk more about that. But do also know one of the most important things I can share with you all when we're talking about communication is this idea of the syllabus. Okay, there should hopefully, in a really good syllabus, which I've seen a lot of good ones lately, there's going to be some information about how to contact your child's teachers. And remember, mamas, it's your teen's job to communicate with the teachers before it's your job. Okay? You can't rescue your teens all of the time. Let your teens start. Might be messy, might not be pretty, but your teens have got to learn how to reach out to the teachers. Even if it's something as quick as, 5 minutes after the bell has rung, and then your teen's like, hey, can we talk after class? I mean, that is self-advocating right there. Or sending an email or a communication or message through whatever system that, I would really like to know what I did wrong on that last test. Or, I really need to know, when can I come talk? Okay. Or even, can you explain problem number 10 on yesterday's homework? Okay. Those are all forms of advocating and communicating. So thank you. There'll be some more videos, 2 more, in fact, about preparing for parent-teacher conferences, all those things I want you and your teens to do, to know, and to kind of learn about before having not such a great conference. But remember, study skills are going to go a long way into your teen learning a lot this year, having a great school year, and your teen noticing, and the teacher of your teen noticing and going, wow, you are an awesome kiddo, mama, you have done an awesome job. And it starts with your teen really, really knowing how to study, knowing how to learn, because mamas, you can do everything in your power, everything wonderful you want to, but your teens have to know how to personalize their learning, and we can do that. We can make that happen when you schedule a consultation at the link in the description. So have a good night. See you soon. Bye, mamas.